Okay, thank you. Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Pioneer Valley Regional School District School Committee. Today is Thursday, May 18th, 2023. This meeting is taking place in the library of the Pioneer Valley Regional School. It is 7:04 p.m. And I will call the meeting to order. We have one member who is remote, so we'll need to do a roll call attendance.
Melissa Gary, present.
Oh. Michelle Geruso here.
Karen O'Neill here.
Gretchen Kelton here.
Nathan Swartz here.
Raina Dastu here. Stephen?
David Young here.
David Young.
Can anybody operate those?
Stephen's still there?
I got you.
Oh, I think we lost Stephen. Oh, no, there he is.
Have they been fixed?
And
Yeah, I think
Stephen
I
just
don't
joined
remember it broken.
again. All right, great, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just adjusting the,
Or sit on this side.
I want my microphone.
No, David.
I've got a microphone this time.
yeah. All right.
Oh, you're really right in the middle of
I
it.
got sunglasses in the car.
You could probably come over here if you wanted.
There's room. That's all right.
He's got a visor.
All right, so we have the minutes of May 11th.
I move we accept them.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. And any corrections, discussion?
Started reading.
All right, so we'll start the vote. David?
David Young, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Michelle Geruso, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
Stephen?
Yes, please. Yes.
And Raina Dastu, yes. So those pass unanimously. Moving on to reports. We have an update on the summer retreat. Michelle, do you want to?
Yes. Whoops. Tracy Novak replied to me that she is available Saturday, July 22nd, for us for a retreat. I did give her a little background that we're looking on help with goal planning, measurable and obtainable. I told her some of the things, that were going on. Warwick is leaving. The committee is going to be 9 committee members. I said maybe she could help us look at our subcommittees and how many meetings we have to do. And I told her, we are going to be attending a lot of meetings for 9 people. We also talked about team building ideas, and she said it would be worth talking further, myself and Raina and Patricia. So I think what we need to know is how many people will be able to attend a Saturday morning in July. I think we need to start there since there's only going to be 9 of us to start with. Oh, 8. You're right. So I'm available.
I'm available. I have it. So does that mean the 15th we don't need to hold anymore?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to take that off.
All right.
9 o'clock, she can be here. That's right. Did I say that? Okay.
Okay.
And we can decide how long we want to go. If we want to do 4 hours or whatever.
Okay, great. So we'll plan on July 22nd for a retreat and more to come. So that's good.
And for planning purposes, there's only 7 currently. That would be. We have 2 in Leiden and 2 in Northfield.
Oh, right. So North.
We still have a vacancy in Northfield.
Northfield.
Vacancy.
Right. So for planning purposes, there's not 8, there's 7.
Can you get one by July? Oh, you're not from
I'm not from, I don't know.
We'll try.
Yeah, try and find someone.
I've got
Good
2.
orientation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we'll.
Yes, and they've all said no.
All right. We'll work on that. It's also part of our homework. So great. Superintendent report.
I would like to give you a brief update or an answer to a question raised last week, and then introduce our guest, Kate Mesmer, new Director of Teaching and Learning. Last week, when the committee accepted a donation of $300 for the Northfield Elementary Library, somebody asked how the gift
How they select the
how they select the books. The librarian sets up a wish list every year with Follett. Students and staff throughout the year request books, and the librarian then orders them.
Okay, great. Thanks for looking into that.
Welcome. Now, much more fun. And Kate Mesmer, come on up to the table, please. And Kate is a singer-songwriter who spent 5 years in Nashville. So she knows about microphones.
No, I'm actually really impressed with the sound. Thank you.
Tyler, huh? From someone who knows.
Hard to get it right when, it's definitely hard to get it right. So I'm appreciative of that. And, for a musician, it's tough because I actually wear 2 hearing aids now, which is disappointing. Can I say that? But it is extraordinary what they can do with digital technology, right? So it's a very different experience for me than it was for my dad, right? Very, very different. So I hear really well, but yes, I have great appreciation for sound. See, listen to that. Thank you. I was going to say, should I just break into song? That would be fun. That would be fun.
For it.
Yeah.
I actually did do that once at a union meeting to get the attention of the union at the time.
You got the union at the table.
Oh, hello, union.
Well,
I was
Kate,
the
yes,
president of the union, so I just started singing Amazing Grace one day when we were having a very large and complex meeting. So I was trying to get everybody's attention.
Well, Kate, we're delighted that you are our new Director of Teaching and Learning. This is a new position for the district. As you know, it's an expansion of the prior Curriculum Coordinator Grants Manager role. Kate comes to us with many, many years of experience as a teacher, curriculum coordinator, and director. So with that, Kate, tell us a little bit about your background and why you're excited to be here, and the committee may want to ask some questions and just have some conversation.
That seems fair. I've always been a teacher. My younger sister will be happy to tell you that. I think probably a little to her chagrin, but I just always have. Both of my parents started their careers out as teachers. My mom was an English teacher and my father was a chemistry teacher, but he ultimately ended up being a chemical engineer. So I feel like that just came to me, and then there's a whole bunch of teachers floating around kind of on both sides of the family. So I always felt it was and I still do. I was actually talking to a former student today who's now a teacher at Hampshire Regional, where I've worked for the last 20 years, and he came in and we were talking about, he and his brother are both teachers, and his parents were teachers, so it seems to be something genetic floating around. And we were just talking about how sometimes compared to our siblings and friends, we actually love our jobs. Right? Especially, my sisters, one is in medicine and the other is in television, and they both struggle with their jobs. And when I tell them that I love my job, they're always, we're happy for you. And I know that I don't, I know that I don't make as much money as they do. I know I don't. But that doesn't matter. I'm remarkably happier, and I've met wonderful people. I've, taught at this point at Hampshire more than 2,000 graduates from that school, and throughout my career I've just managed to find my way various places. And I started teaching at the elementary school that I went to, and at a Catholic school. So at that point I'd had an English certification in Pennsylvania, but the principal at the elementary school asked me if I could teach music, and obviously that seemed a good fit. And then she said, and I need an English teacher in middle school. I said, great. And then she said, and I need a math teacher, 4 through 8. And I said, sister, I'm not learned how to teach math. And she said, if I remember correctly, you passed 8th grade math. And you know what? The oddest thing about that story is I loved teaching math. I really did. And I taught math for 5 years, and maybe that's my dad's contribution to that part of it, because he ended up with a PhD in applied mathematics. And so it was probably that combination of things. So I really did love teaching math. But then I ended up going to grad school and teaching freshmen at Duquesne University, teaching freshman English for a few years. Finishing that degree, heading off to UMass, actually, which is what brought me to this area of the world, which I think is true for a lot of people, and was a doctoral candidate there and taught freshman writing for them for a little while. But then I got a really interesting phone call one day from Sony Music in Nashville, Tennessee, where they asked me, they said they had heard a song that I had written actually for a fundraiser that was done in Pittsburgh, where I'm from, for the Children's Hospital campaign. And they heard the song and they said, we'd like you to come down and talk to us. And so I went down to talk to them, and really quickly I ended up being a staff writer for Sony Music in Nashville, which, and I have said this before many times, which sounds way cooler than it is, okay? It was absolutely revelatory, right? That kind of work, and meeting amazing people and having a wonderful time. But you need a day job when you do that. So I worked for Vanderbilt University's Child Development Center. And again, had no idea this was going to happen, but any of the teachers in the room, you've probably seen the ADHD scale that came out of, I was part of that, which was fun. And I was part of a study that worked with trying to diagnose autism in children under 3 with Wendy Stone, who went on to do even greater things. So I've kind of landed in all these places and did a lot of data work for them and some editorial work for them. So it was a really fun period of time where I just did a lot of different things. And then on the weekends, I sang songs and traveled around and met people. And then eventually came back here to the Valley and have been back in the Valley for more than 20 years now, and worked for National Evaluation Systems for a little while, the teacher testing people. And that was intriguing. And then I ended up deciding I really wanted to go back to teaching. So I taught at Turner's Falls High School for 3 years, and then was riffed from that position and landed at Hampshire Regional in 2003, and I've been there ever since. Oh, I skipped a part. I taught for 15 years, and then in 2017 became their director of curriculum instruction and assessment. Teaching and learning is way better, just saying. I like that. It just is nice gerunds, I just like that. The CIA director just doesn't work, right, in some ways. So that's what brings me here is basically the really exciting opportunity to do new things. I was just looking really quickly at your course listing in there, and I thought, there are things I want to take in there. That would be really fun, or at least to sit in on, right? I thought, that's exciting to be able to do that kind of work in high school is really, really appealing to me. And I know that there are some curricular challenges that you have ahead of you. And it's taken me 5 years, but I finally managed to align mathematics at Hampshire Regional for the first time in 60 years. So that was exciting. And I did a lot of grant work for Hampshire. And doing a little less of that is also appealing to me. I'm good at it. I am. I'm good at writing grants, but it doesn't really speak to a lot of the strengths that I have. I mean, obviously it speaks to the writing skills that I have, and it speaks to my knowledge around teaching and learning, but it doesn't allow me to actually do that work. And it takes a significant amount of time to write grants. So I'd say my job, although it's supposed to be kind of 60-40 curriculum grants, it's really the opposite. I spend most of my time, especially in the COVID years, right? We went from managing less than $1 million in grants to managing more than $4 or $5 million in grants. And it takes time to get that right and to follow all the laws and to meet people's needs. And so I'm thrilled that the focus here is Director of Teaching and Learning.
Well, we're thrilled that you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like I just did
Committee,
the
I don't know
cliff
if you have any
notes of my life.
questions, or?
Anyway,
No, thank you for that. That was,
so I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time?
no, sorry, thank you for that. It
Oh,
was-
you're welcome.
Yeah.
I came in late, but I love what you had to say.
Oh, thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Kate?
Thank you.
Great choice.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kate. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be. What a beautiful day, huh?
There you go.
So when do you start?
July 5th.
Yeah.
Yes. And Patricia, I'm happy to tell you that I managed to get a little more time in between. So that's
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've talked with people. We want people to come in rested and some break before they start the hard work here, so.
and I
Kate, thank you
pulled
so
that
much.
off.
And
You're
I know
welcome.
you are dying to stay for the rest of the meeting, but you don't need to. You should really go home.
I like a superintendent with a sense of humor. No, I mean, actually, school committee meetings, I mean, the work that you have all had to do for the last 3-4 years is just mind-boggling, right? And extraordinary and really important. But I'm hopeful going forward that you will not see as much of each other as you have because things will settle down with COVID, I'm hoping. Can we all hope for that? Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good goal.
I don't think it's in the stars with committee going to 9 members. Quite a grind.
Thanks.
Just throwing a little bit of reality out there.
Yeah, no, I'm really going to be hopeful because that was, I think we could agree that it was a little shocking when it happened and it was just a lot.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think as more stable systems are put in place, it makes the work easier and more coordinated for everyone. So there is a settling down in a commonality of how we're operating. So I see some wonderful things happening when those systems get implemented.
Excellent. Yes, and you only have one school committee.
Yeah.
So that's exciting too.
All right.
So no, thank you all for
Thanks.
listening, and I'm happy to answer your questions at any time. And Patricia, I'm hopeful that I'm going to come here next week and take care of the paperwork. That's what I'm
Perfect. Great.
planning. So I'll call Suzanne and take care of that.
That sounds good.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Kate.
you very much. Have a
Thank you.
lovely evening.
Thanks, yep.
Welcome.
Welcome.
All right. So moving on to our business. Director of Student Services, that is not, we're removing that from the agenda for tonight. We're not ready for that. A gift to the schools, AGH disposal.
In your packets, you have a brief memo from Jordan. Do you remember you approved disposal of the surplus track equipment out back? So I just found out, I got a little more information. Gretchen Licata, Director of Facilities, was out talking with some local companies about, getting a contract together to remove of the items, and AGH offered to donate their services to
Great.
dispose of the items.
Fantastic.
And I'm sure once they're disposed, that we're no longer liable for anything. Some of it is sports equipment that, if it were used, we had a discussion before, but like
Yes.
once they're disposing of it, it's disposed.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'd like to move to accept the donation of the in-kind service voted of $300 from AGH Disposal and Recycling LLC to dispose of surplus athletic equipment.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Being none, you want to start the voting?
David Young, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Michelle Druso, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Steve? Stephen Martin, yes. And Raina Dastu, yes. So that passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to PVRS courses and program of studies.
Curriculum and personnel met last night. Nathan, do you want to introduce the, there's not a vote needed, but do you want to introduce the memo about the courses, or shall I?
No, you can. I would like to speak a little bit, we're kind of past the report section, but there were things in that meeting that
Yes.
should be brought up.
Okay.
But no, you're the best person to
Okay. Thank you.
introduce that. Yep, thank you.
So briefly, as you have in the memo, when we took a look at the updated policy manual, it turns out, under the curriculum adoption policy, that I have the authority as superintendent to approve new programs and courses of study if they do not represent an extensive alteration to content or instructional approach. And while these are wonderful creative courses, none of them is, they're not so far afield that I believe committee approval is required. So I want to put into the record the names of our wonderful faculty who this year have requested approval, which I granted to these new courses. We have Rachel Dowd, our librarian, who will be teaching a half-year course on research skills and media literacy. How important? How important for our students to develop even stronger skills at discerning what is true and what is not in the online world. Emma Harnish and David Boucher will be co-teaching a really nifty-looking course on design and engineering. It provides greater variety for our students, entirely project-based. You can see the projects listed in the course description. Emily Miner, Grinspoon winner, will teach a half-year course on journalism and mass media, and there is talk of, gosh, maybe we get a literary magazine going again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Athletic coaching. Peter King, our phys ed teacher, has taken this course. He's got former professors who are advising him on how he might adapt a college-level course for students in high school. There's a lot of interest in this. Electronic music production, I was just thinking of Kate, because this is, they go into the history of recorded sound, different sound recording technologies, mixing, mastering, and they will learn how to set up for live performances. So I would imagine that Tyler, look at the smile, right? I love this. I love that our kids will learn how to make digital music, edit digital music, and set up for live performance and record live performance. Right? Woodshop, right? We've talked so much about that. Getting that back up and running. Personal finance, you've heard about this. Kids love the class, and now they can take it as a math elective. We're giving more choice, something real, a year-long class. I wish I had learned some of this when I was a young person. My little high school certainly didn't offer that, and Kathy's super excited. She's using a good curriculum from a national organization dedicated to helping young people learn how to manage their finances, so she doesn't have to invent it. And the online curriculum has very clear links to the standards of mathematical practice in the curriculum framework, so yay. And then Matt Colleen, Perception and Reality. I don't know if you got a chance to read that course proposal.
Yeah.
Deep.
Yep.
Deep. And this is not a brand new course. He's taking a moment to say, this course has been changing over time. Now we need to rename it so that we acknowledge what is really at the core of this, at the heart of this course. So just so happy for our kids that they will have these opportunities. Quickly, I'm going to mention, because we brought up in curriculum and personnel, one idea that had come up, a few ideas came up. What about a semester-long class for seniors in first semester that would be college applications and scholarship applications? Remove the burden from families and help kids, especially those for whom there may not be someone in their family who's gone to college before. Didn't make it happen, but Lucas Correa, our guidance counselor, our school counselor, has already put the word out to kids that they could do that as an independent study, and there is interest among some of our seniors. So you had asked me to make sure that the word is out, kids know about this, and I'm thrilled that it just seems to make sense.
Yeah.
Why have kids struggle when they could every day methodically get through the process with help, right? So happy to entertain any questions or comments.
Just a comment. So I had concerns about the time on learning and how we were going to approach that. And so I am just really excited about the staff stepping forward and expanding learning opportunities for students. And I really applaud the fact that they are doing this, but maybe more importantly, they're doing this in something they're passionate about, and that is going to come through in their instruction. So this is a win-win. They're going to enjoy what they're doing, and the kids are going to have a tremendous benefit from it.
Yeah, thank you, Ellen. Okay, great, thank you.
Great. Yeah. And then do we?
Program, there's no vote on that. The
Okay.
program of studies one, there, it will be a vote.
Okay.
So that's a
Alright.
separate, okay.
All right.
Nathan, you want me to do this one, or do you want to, the program of
What is
studies?
that?
The program of studies, there was going to be a vote needed.
Credit.
Yeah. Again, you're more familiar
Okay,
with that.
all right.
Speak to it, but you've been embedded in it.
Thank you. So, our program of studies is a core document of the district. It is the central repository of information about the courses offered at the high school. And it is the place, in addition to the student handbook, where the requirements for graduation are listed. It's a key document. Maybe it hasn't had an update in a number of years, and these documents, someone does a little fixing here, they do a little fixing there. It's time, not right now, it will be time next year or maybe the year after, for a thorough review. We want the tone to be positive. We want it to have, we want someone reading it without realizing, to get a sense of our values as an educational community. So, all of that said, I have the authority to approve changes to the document that are not substantive, that don't change, for instance, the requirements for credits required for graduation. So we've reformatted the entire document. We had a survey today for kids in grades 8 through 11 to choose the cover art. We put out a number of samples using artwork created by our students. And Kendrick Salis, I hope somebody sends this recording to you because you won. And Kendrick's artwork will be on next year's program of studies. We've deleted, outdated information. There is one change for which we do need to request approval. Curriculum and personnel heard about it last night, and they unanimously recommended that it come forward to the full committee. And that is relating to the elimination of study halls. Last year, and in years past, students were required to be enrolled in a program equivalent to 6 full-time courses each semester for a total of 15, no, do I have that right?
Yep.
15 credits. How do you get 15 credits from 6 courses? It's 5, okay, yeah. Because 6 times 5 is 30, it was 30 credits for the year, I got that, okay.
Yes. Yep.
Sorry. With the elimination of study hall, unless we were to completely blow up the schedule, figure out something radically different, and that might happen, down the road as we really think about what works best in the current time. The solution for next year is to say all students need to be enrolled in 7 classes. That's how we make up time on learning, given the constraints of the current schedule. Students therefore need to be enrolled in 17.5 credits per semester, or 35 credits for the year. That is the change for which we are requesting approval. We are not suggesting or requesting that we mess about with the credits required for graduation. That's a big conversation, and not fair to spring that on any kids the year before graduation. So happy to entertain questions and comments.
How long is each class? Minutes per day.
So, Claire, am I right? Most classes are 47 minutes, but the block ones are double that? What's that, 94, 93? Yeah. But then on Fridays, currently, there's still 7 blocks, but they're just a few minutes shorter. Yeah.
Okay, so I was wondering about that in terms of the block classes. So, block scheduling and how they're taught is a different approach than teaching for 47 minutes. So I don't have knowledge, so it's just my lack of knowledge that how do the teachers keep this engaging so it's not just 247 or whatever that larger number is. How is their philosophy and how they're teaching adjusting to the longer period? Because it could be different.
Alan, that's what, they have that now, and they will have the exact same thing next year.
No,
There's
but I
no
don't
change.
understand what they have now.
So they do so right now they do, for instance, labs in those block periods. So that
They do labs?
for the science
Oh.
teachers, that's the perfect time for them to do a lab. It's when Nikki can get her kids outside.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, because if it was presenting and engaging students, then there's this ratio that you do, but I didn't realize they were tied to labs.
Not all of them, but go ahead, Claire.
So we all make a different plan. You know, we've been doing it for, we've had this block schedule for 7, 8, maybe even longer. So, you're right, so science, they do labs. Kathy Mulch, cooking, she does her big cooking classes then. For me, for a double block, it depends on what we're doing and what unit that I'm teaching. Longer writing pieces take place during the double block. Editing, peer editing takes place during the double block. Any type of quiz, test, double block. Reading, whatever novel that we're in at the time. Project work, we're doing projects right now. The juniors are creating biographies of philanthropists. And so we've been using the double block of time to work on their projects to do that.
I thank you for sharing that, because I think that's important for people to understand how that time is used differently and how you approach that, so I appreciate that. I think that's good information for the public to hear as well.
Thank you.
Great. Any further questions? Someone like to make a motion?
I'll move to revise the high school program of studies to require that PVRS students in grade 9 through 12 be enrolled in a program equivalent to 7 courses per semester, which equals 17.5 credits, in order to be considered full-time students.
I second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right.
Just
Yeah.
one other question. And so when you look at the scheduling and you look at the additional courses and the opportunities for kids, there won't be an issue with the kids being able to sign up for other courses, so they're all taking 7.
Mathematically,
Yeah,
no, we're okay.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Shall we start the voting?
Yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Michelle Giarrusso, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Steve? Stephen Martin, yes. Thank you. And Raina Dastu, yes. So that passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Superintendent evaluation.
So first, I would like to thank the committee for your patience and apologize that you did not get this until late last night. In February, you approved my goals for a year and a half period, essentially, which was just terrific. Thank you for that. And you asked that I report on my progress in May. So, as you have in your memos, I have not been able to make really much progress at all on the 3 goals. And it is strange to say this, but I can't say that I feel delinquent in any way about it. And it is not hard for me to see how, when the school year is over, we get to work and I start on the goals. They're great work for the summer. So that's what I'm suggesting. There is a second part of the evaluation process that involves looking at my performance against the 4 professional standards. And those are instructional leadership, management and operations, family and community engagement, and professional culture. When we ask teachers to select and share evidence, it's always a good idea to suggest to teachers, pick few pieces of evidence, but pick evidence that can demonstrate your performance against multiple standards, right? So I've seen some administrators want people to put in 6 pieces of evidence for every stand. Like, no, don't do that. Pick good evidence that can paint a really broad portrait of your work. So on the back of that sheet, I picked some pieces of evidence that I felt went across different standards. When I look at this, what I noted putting it together was that the fewest check marks are in the instructional leadership column. And that's both surprising and not. I spent so many years as a teacher and then so many years working in curriculum and teaching and learning. That is my wheelhouse. And as I've said to you on a number of occasions, since coming to this district, my focus has had to be squarely on operations. That's what we have needed here, and so that's where I put my attention. And I'm really excited for next year because with the entry of Kate to the district, with a principal in this building, I can begin to focus more of my attention on the front of the house. So I'm just noting that that's something I observed when I look at the distribution of check marks. Areas in which I feel proud of my work, communication. When I counted the district updates and saw, gosh, there have been 56 of them that have gone out. Hey, we didn't have a newsletter before, and now we do. And they're not fancy, but they let our community know what's going on, and they're a vehicle to seek input, to celebrate things. And now some of our principals are using s'mores. Cindy Schultz over at BES, boy, she's knocking it out of the park. There was a video, I don't know how, did you see your grandson in that video?
Of course I did, and I've shared it with everybody I know.
Did you see this video of the fourth graders?
Grader. Yeah, how to be a great fourth grader, whatever it was. Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. They even did bloopers. It was heartwarming and fantastic.
It is what we want.
Really great advice.
It is what we want.
Yep.
So when I came, I heard that, at times there wasn't, the community wasn't feeling, families weren't feeling like they knew what was going on. And so I think we've taken some great steps in that area. There are some connections here. I think about Forest Lights, helping Cooper get that land stewardship club going and getting the kids out there, getting the families out, and connecting that to the facilities master plan. We're thinking about our resources and how we use them long term, connected to the elementary site plans. The preschoolers over at NES are working with John Lepore to get outside and examine the site and think about what they would want to see on the site. They are drawing maps. So, connections here among everything. The Warwick transition, I'm inordinately proud of the work we did in that school committee led, and I'm glad that I could help, that I could take on the administrative side of it and provide you with the documents that helped good conversations happen. The hiring searches, I think those have been transparent, inclusive. You've heard from different applicants who've said, nice process. And that's what we want people to hear about us, that we do things well and we treat people well. The last one, I don't have a link because it wouldn't be appropriate to share the document, but this one's important to know. Under state law, if a teacher or a faculty member works in a school district for 3 years, the day after they finish the 3rd year, not the first day of the next year, the day after they finish their 3rd year, they automatically have professional teacher status, which grants them important employee protection rights. It behooves the district, legally, but also culturally, to view the earning of professional teacher status as a major professional accomplishment, which means we need to be keeping an eye on our new teachers, new to us. And so I've instituted a practice where we have a roster of all of our pre-professional teacher status. It's not rocket science. It's a simple spreadsheet. And it's got the rows with the people who are in their 1st year, the rows of the people in their second year and the rows of the people in their third year. And the admin team now sits, and every couple months, all together, we look at all the pre-PTS people and we talk about how they're doing and what they need, what supports they have, and what we're thinking about them, so that there are no surprises. Right? We pay the most attention to the people in the third year because at the end of this year, that matters. That matters. So that's the kind of seemingly simple but smart administrative practice that if we institute these in all kinds of areas, we will be an even more well-oiled machine, right? And we'll be careful, we're thinking and collaborative. And so the principals aren't out there by themselves thinking about the pre-PTS teachers. So seems, it feels like that's a nitty-gritty example of the kinds of things we can do as administrators that help our educators, which means we help our kids. So anyway, that's some of the evidence I'm sharing.
If I could just speak quickly to the hiring searches. I'd like to thank all the community members, all the staff members, students, everyone. That's a big part of all that, and it has been, like, we've done a really good job with that. It's really become one of our assets.
Thank you. Yeah, people put in so much time on those,
Yeah,
and we've gotten such good
as they
feedback
should,
about our
but they're
kids.
willing to do that, and that's like shows who we are.
Go ahead, Alan.
So my comment would be hindsight is 20/20, and I really appreciate the fact of your honesty in terms of here's what you were hoping and here's what happened. And I'm really glad that you spent your time on what happened because that was really important work to do. I think you did address a lot of the things along the way, even though they weren't your goals. Had you known that, you would have redone your goals
I would have just said,
right away.
let me start in the summer.
Yeah.
I'll give you
Yeah.
great goals, but we got to get through the year and then I'll.
Yeah. Had you known that, you would have itemized different goals and said, I think this is what I need to focus on. And then you would have just said, look what we did. So I think you did a really good job given what you inherited.
Thanks. I don't believe there's any vote needed.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I was just going to
This
ask
is an
that.
interim report on
Yeah,
progress.
it's just a review
Progress.
of the goals. Yep.
And
That
I am
box, we
always
did it.
happy, I know sometimes people feel more confident giving feedback in a private setting. And so if there are any school committee members who want to share some feedback one-on-one with me, please give a call and we'll have a conversation and I want to hear what you have to say.
And I would just like to echo what Alan said. I feel like you've focused on the things that have been a priority. You never know what's going to happen. If we could all predict what would happen in the next 6 months, we'd all be doing, I don't know, very different things, I think. But the ability to kind of pivot and as the priorities shift and change, I feel like you've shifted and changed with it, and you've appreciated that. So,
And I'd like to say I appreciate the honesty also. It is very difficult to have several people around the room doing an evaluation on you in public, but you have always showed your honesty in wanting to share things with us, things that you didn't accomplish, things that you did accomplish. And I think we have a cohesive school committee team right now who respect and value each other's opinions, even though we don't always agree on the same thing. It's okay. And as long as we're very respectful of each other, I think going forward, it may be scary with only, 7 or 8, whatever. But I feel like we can do it, and I want to thank both you and Jordan for the leadership this past year. It has been very welcoming.
Thank you.
I'm in my 9th year on the school committee, and this is this has been the most pleasurable year of the 9, I would say. And I wouldn't characterize our struggles as just the last 3 years. We're around for 8 years ago. I mean, it's a tough road ahead. I respect your interest to cling tight to Pioneer and try to have it survive, kind of along the lines of Warwick, reopening its elementary school. Feels like it came to the six-town planning process late and reluctantly, but I'm glad to see you there now. And I kind of understand the sentiment. And I see an opportunity for Pioneer at arriving at a sweet spot. I mean, Warwick left, and it put Northfield's numbers at about as well optimized as possible. The problem we have with education is, we get to the need to add another teacher. It's $100,000 to the budget. And so I really haven't been a fan of regionalization, bigger regions, although it does have an argument. So it's going to be interesting to be on the periphery, but still with a toe in the water here.
And one thing you might want to consider doing is go back and revisit your policies on voting and parliamentary procedure and just take a look at that again, because you might need to revise some of that and be very clear what you need for different votes and so forth, because right now it'll be in conflict a little bit with the regional agreement. And then it also may be some conflicts of how you take votes during meetings. That's all. That's just
No, thank you.
food for thought.
I'm writing. Thanks. Good thinking. So great.
And just real quick, I've been part of, every year I've been here for the past 4 years, we do the superintendent evaluation. It's one of the most important things that we do. This is the easiest process that I've ever had to, for the whole time that I've been here. In large part because we're all working together as a team, and we understand that there are difficulties, that there are challenges, and we adapt to them. And I think that's been a credit to both the administration and to the school committee.
Great. Thank you all. So our next item is an executive session.
I had a question.
Yes.
If you anticipate we're going to come out and take some action as a result of the executive session, that would make sense to probably have it in the middle of the agenda.
Yeah.
You are?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Because I didn't know if there was other things we should do, but it sounds like there is, so thank
the
you.
information in the executive session will impact a vote that we have later on in the agenda.
And just before we go, at some point I would like to talk about, there were other issues at the Curriculum and Personnel Committee. So I don't know if now's the time or afterward.
We'll address that under other business.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Great. All right. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved. Oh, go ahead. You got to read it first.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
No, but you're going to. Aren't you going to make a motion to go in executive session?
If you want me to. Or you can do it. Okay. I move to go into executive session under Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Number 1A and Number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with PVREA and PVASP, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body and the chair so declares. We will return to open session.
Second.
All right. You want to start the voting?
Can you so declare?
I do declare.
All right, I vote yes. David Young.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Michelle Drew, so yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Thank you, Steve. And Raina Dastu, yes. All right. And that is unanimous.
Okay, policy subcommittee met just before this meeting. You should have in front of you a memo, and then 2 pieces of paper that are the current homeschooling policy. As I explained in the policy subcommittee meeting, this is the 3rd district in which I have overseen homeschool applications. This district, I am proud to say, supports all of its families and all of its students, including those families who choose to homeschool their students. That is their right under Massachusetts law, and we support that. So, the current homeschool policy has a provision that I strongly have urged the policy subcommittee to consider recommending striking. And that is language that allows a homeschool family to request that the district award a diploma with school committee approval. And that, I have never worked in a district where that policy existed. It opens up Pandora's box. You can, without my saying anything, you can imagine the many questions that arise. So, am I right that the subcommittee is recommending that we?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the subcommittee is moving forward the language as written.
The suggested revised policy IHBG that's in front of you is stripped down. It has a warmer sentence at the beginning that says, we support, the district supports all of its students. Gesundheit. In the revised language, the committee would delegate responsibility for approval of homeschool plans to the superintendent or their designee, just making clear this is an administrative function. Existing policy allows homeschooled students to participate in extracurricular activities. I support that. I assume that you would want to continue supporting that. We do have homeschooled students who are valuable additions to some classes and some of our sports teams, for instance, or our performing arts program. There is one recommendation the committee made. I draw your attention to the last sentence at the bottom of the page. I'm going to read it with the added suggested language. The superintendent will, and here's the added language, establish procedures for the, no, we're striking that because you want to keep that, Melissa. We're striking that addition. You want to keep IH, the R.
We are keeping IH.
So strike that.
Yep.
No changes recommended to the policy by the subcommittee. On the back of the page, you have the -R policy, which is always the procedures. This is vastly cleaned up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Before you go to the procedure, so I guess I'm out of touch with the regulation, and that is this new. I've never seen it say or there is subject to review by the committee. I did not think that was ever in the purview of a school committee.
I think that's in the existing policy.
That's in the existing policy underneath.
This isn't what we're approving. This is.
Yep.
No, that's,
it is.
No, that's what we're approving. But how it's written right now, it's the next sheet in your packet. That is what our policy currently has.
This is what we.
That is what we currently have. That is what was voted.
This is what we want to have.
That is what we want. Yep.
So we want to say in here is subject to review of the committee?
That
The
is
approval or
that is in
rejection
the
of a
existing
homeschool.
language.
That's.
So,
And
for
that's-
example, we could ask as a committee, we would like to know how many homeschooled kids.
Oh,
How many, so that's what that sentence is. The superintendent will report to the committee annually on the number of homeschooled students in the district. Right, so we could ask how many kids are homeschooled within our district.
So
Eleanor,
I'm
you're a
reading
couple
this part.
sentences up.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm reading any approval or rejection of a homeschool plan by the superintendent or the designee, if you have someone else doing that for you, is subject to review of the committee. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that was in a regulation or something.
It's
I've
in the
never done
existing
that.
policy. Here's how I think about that one. District resident or kids who are enrolled in our district, right? They have recourse to go to the principal and say, I'm not happy about something, and then they may come up to the superintendent, and they could come to school committee and do public comment. This allows our homeschool families some recourse. If they believe that I have unduly failed to approve their plan, it allows them to, say, actually, I'd
So
like.
would
the
this
school-
be an executive session?
Possibly, right? It's about a.
You got to study the 10 reasons.
Right.
Yeah, boy, I just see that as
Well, if they
problematic.
make it a complaint against a public official, then you
And-
can make it.
Well,
Right.
it'd be an open session. Okay, I mean, I just trying to
Not necessarily.
process this. I think it puts you in a very difficult situation as superintendent, because my experience has been, that's a lot of responsibility to approve homeschooling plans, and some parents are better at it than others.
Yes.
And then particularly assessment part of what they show in their folder at the end. So for the committee to get into that layer now, to know what was approved and why you approved it, and then go down to why it's not appropriate, that's a pretty
The committee
clear
might
process.
The committee might delegate curriculum and personnel. The committee doesn't necessarily have to have it come to the full.
Still
committee.
public if it's.
It's
that's
your call.
Yeah, okay, I thank you.
The IHGB-R is a cleaning up. There was some outdated language in the prior procedures. This puts a little, this provides a little more, some more parameters around the speed with which we review and respond to families. It gives some more guidance to families about when they need to send us the end-of-year report and when we will approve the end-of-year report. That central section that has A, B, C, D, E, that's straight out of the law.
On Part B of that, the last word, AIDS, doesn't have an E in it.
Thank you.
What happens if they did not meet the standards that they established or produce the evidence at the end of that year? Can you speak to that?
So there's a conversation. The looming, I don't know what the word is. If the end of year report is not approved, they are not able to submit a plan for the next year. And if there is no homeschool plan in place and the child is not enrolled in public school and the child is between the ages of 5 and 16, their child is truant.
So do you file, but would you file a report or something to DESI that they're,
I've never encountered that situation. I've had conversations with lawyers who represent homeschooled families. I have been able to successfully navigate any concerns with homeschool families.
okay.
And our homeschool families are a terrific bunch. They want to educate their kids. But so that's the kind of stick, as it were, of carrot and stick.
Yep.
If your end of year report isn't approved, you may not submit for next year, and that is an issue. Right?
Okay. That seems like a fair process. And you're right, 99.9% are really dedicated to educating their kids. But there are the exceptions that creates difficulty.
And this is also just the first reading. So, this is time for us to be exposed to it,
Right.
read, and then there will be a second reading.
Are these dates, did we come up with these dates, or with the June 15th?
I came up with that.
You came up with that?
Great.
Okay. So we can move on to the second policy. So policy JFBBA, faculty tuition. This draft policy we discussed at our previous policy meeting right before this meeting. And we are asking for this language to be added to the policy. I'll read it.
New policy.
To the new policy.
To establish a new
Yep,
policy.
to establish the new policy, faculty tuition. And the policy reads, as full-time faculty who have children enrolled in the district in kindergarten through grade 12 as of May 18th, 2023, through a previous faculty tuition policy, may continue to enroll these children with yearly payment of 10% of the Warwick tuition rate. Siblings of a faculty child enrolled in the district as of May 18th, 2023, via school choice or the previous faculty tuition policy, may enroll for the school year 2023-2024 in kindergarten through grade 12 and may remain enrolled through graduation with yearly payment of 10% of the Warwick tuition rate. No new enrollment of faculty children under this policy will take place after September 1st, 2023. We would request that this becomes effective May 25th, 2023.
And that would be part of the policy language.
Correct.
Yep.
I'll second that.
So Vernon used to be the benchmark. I'm honored.
Keeping
So-
it in-house.
So can I assume that this would be posted in each of the elementary schools on the faculty bulletin
We'll
boards?
distribute it,
Yeah, thank you.
David Young, yes.
Okay.
There's a,
Is there any, so,
time to vote?
a motion and a second, any further discussion?
Yep.
Yes.
We don't seem to have that in our packet for some reason. Can you reread that last sentence you said?
Sure. So no new enrollment of faculty children under this policy will take place after September 1st, 2023.
So just a clarifying question then. So anybody currently on the faculty
Yep.
would enroll this fall as a student, but any future siblings would fall into that.
Correct.
So it seems like a very short-term policy. The thinking
Yep.
behind that, is it a perk or accommodation that we want to offer staff, or is it something we're trying to make go away? I mean, I can see the trouble that if somebody came and had 3 6th graders to bring to Northfield, that it would make, but
I would answer it this way. The policy is trying to be accommodating, but it's also trying to limit exposure going forward, financial exposure.
so basically after September, the policy ends.
Correct.
Yes and no. No, the policy.
Oh, the policy's in effect.
The ones that are in.
But the enrollment
enrolled,
ends.
nobody knew is going to.
Yes.
No new enrollment.
Correct.
Correct.
No new enrollments.
Correct.
Yes.
And faculty would still have the option of utilizing school choice, and then wouldn't have to
Provided
pay the
choice,
tuition.
and that doesn't necessarily give them
Provided there's
a path.
Correct.
Go ahead, Renee.
And just food for thought for the committee, would the policy, would the committee then entertain like those employed by September 1st or something like that, and then all their children, like it just as a food for thought? As an addendum to that? See what I'm saying? Anyone?
Do you want-
Expire eventually, but if you're in employ by whatever date you say, then all of the children.
No. Do you want me to read it again? The
I'm
full?
saying it would be a change to what you've read.
No.
No.
It won't be a change, or no, it's.
No, you're not doing it.
Considered.
I guess, how would it be a change?
I'm just wondering about changing the language to say faculty employed by, say, even May 25th of this year, all of their family qualify for this benefit. No. I understand that's not what it currently says. I'm just asking you to consider that change or not, just as food for thought. Because what we're saying is if a person is currently employed and they have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, their 4-year-old could
Correct.
come under
Correct.
tuition, but their 2-year-old cannot.
Correct.
Well,
That is how this is written.
This is written.
Correct. Yes.
And Renee, the committee did very carefully consider that. The committee very carefully considered the ramifications of that. And as a reminder, there is no faculty tuition policy right now. There was previously. There is currently no option for any faculty member to bring a child via faculty tuition.
Are there any here anyway?
Yes.
One.
There are.
You ready to vote?
You already voted yes, but then there was much discussion, so if you...
I've decided not to change my vote.
Okay, just checking.
Melissa Yeri, yes.
Michelle Giarrusso, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Nathan Swartz, abstain.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Steve?
I'm here. My hand's not working as fast as late night. I'm here. Thank you. Yes.
Great, thank you. And Raina Dastu, yes. So that passes with, I didn't do the math in my head. Great, school choice
Seats, okie dokie. You have in your packets the memo. About a month ago, school committee voted to approve 33 seats at Pioneer, and you asked us to provide you with additional information about how many current school choice families might have younger siblings they hope to enroll in the elementary buildings next year. We conducted a survey. We reached out to all current school choice families twice. Actually, we reached out once to all and then a second time to those who hadn't responded. You have the table of the number of respondents who indicated how many younger siblings they would like to enroll next year via choice. There were no respondents from Northfield Elementary School who said they had a sibling in the wings that they wanted to bring in next year. Again, the survey was very specific about next year, not in general in the future, but next year. At Bernardston Elementary School, of the respondents, and as I note, there may be additional school choice families out there who did not respond, but we're working with the numbers that we have. 3 families indicated that they hoped to bring students to kindergarten this fall. And there is currently, to the best of our knowledge, we've got 15 students coming into kindergarten next year at BES. BES grade 3, the survey indicates that there is 1 child whom families hope to enroll in grade 1. Currently, the projection is 2 sections of grade 3 with 15 students each. Also, BES in grade 1 and grade 6, another single student. We're projecting 2 sections with 18 students each. And then, 3 kids, hooray, grade 7 at PVRS. You approved 5 seats at PVRS. So I'm going to do the easier ones first. Grade 3, if the committee were to approve a seat, it would not have an impact on sections, and it would not bring class sizes high in a worrisome way. Exact same thing with grade 6. And then the following year, those kids are coming up to Pioneer anyway. Grade 7, again, that's. So grade 3, kindergarten. Okay, 15 kids. Add those 3 seats, we're up at 18. Add a few move-ins, we're up at 20. Add a couple move-ins the next year, we're up at 22. We took a look, Jordan and I, we sat and we looked through enrollment patterns, and there was the largest number of move-ins in Bernardston recently in a single grade that had a net increase on class size was 4. So that's the largest number of, that's the largest increase in a single grade level in terms of move-ins in a year. What else did I say to you? I've mapped out for you visually the projected class sizes. That's without the kit. That's without any new school choice seats. So I make no recommendation here. This you asked for information. I hope this is responsive to that request. And happy to entertain any questions you might have about the numbers.
My question is to remind myself of the rules. So these siblings would have priority if we declare we have seats, but they we don't have to declare we have seats.
Yeah, it's a super interesting question. So I'm holding in my hand the DESE FAQ about the school choice program. Important to note, siblings, for the purpose of school choice preference, are not always the siblings that we think of in how we live our families, right? So siblings must be biologically related or legally related. Siblings who live in the same household who do not have a biological or legal relationship, i.e., we've been partners for 15 years and we're raising our kids together, but we never got married, and we never adopted each other's kids. Unfortunately, under the state, this is not our community and our values, our kids wouldn't bring each other in with sibling preference for the purposes of school choice. Additionally, what matters is whether the school choice applicant has a sibling who is in the district at the time of the offer of admission is made. It does not matter if the following year the sibling who pulled in, the anchor sibling as it were, it doesn't matter if they won't be in the school at the opening of the new school year. So for example, I'm a high school senior this year. I've got my younger sister. She's going to kindergarten. She gets sibling preference when the school choice stuff happens right now. It doesn't matter that when she starts kindergarten, I'm off at UMass. That doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And the preference exists when the offer of admission is made. That's really important. Were the committee to consider opening up seats at NES. Because if the committee were to open up seats at NES, and given that we need to hold a lottery if there's greater demand than seat availability by June 1, there is the chance that current Warwick resident students could pull in siblings who would have preference, because at the moment the offer of admission was made, the sibling is currently a student of our district. So I hope I'm explaining things. It gets a little tricky, but there are some particularities around who is a sibling and when the sibling relationship matters.
Once the school committee adopts the openings that are available, if something happens, either too many or too few, does the school committee have the ability to close a seat that was open? Or do they have the ability to, 5 families moved out or whatever happened, and now it's after June, and you want to open up new seats?
The committee may open up seats. My understanding is the committee may open up seats at any time.
Okay.
I believe that the committee may not close those seats until November 1st.
November 1st?
November 1st.
Okay.
I will double check on that. I've gone through it multiple times, but I believe that is the case.
And we've closed schools, or we did that this year.
Yep.
We closed seats this year.
There's no obligation.
In the fall.
except it's
It was in the fall.
Yeah, we closed seats, but I'm saying we reduced them basically. We opened up 6 seats, and then something happened, a whole bunch of move-ins or something, and then we said, oh, you know what? We're only going to have 2. We're going to eliminate 4. That's the clarification I'm trying to make sure I understand.
Question, and this is assuming I understand this correctly. Kindergarten and grade 5 have one classroom currently. What's the magic number that turns each into 2 classrooms?
Great question.
Doesn't exist, I'm sorry.
No magic number?
Well, we have no class size maxima in the teacher's contract or in policy. So in some contracts, there are class size maxima, the union bargains for it. And then there are provisos. I've worked in Boston at one point, at certain grade levels, let's say the class size maximum were 22. If the teacher agreed, the district could put in up to 2 more kids, and the teacher got $1,500 extra. We don't have that language. So actually what David said is right. There is no magic number. It is culture, custom, what this district believes is best practice, and depends upon the context of the school.
The other
So,
piece.
for example, grade 2, 2 classes, a total of 25 students. Grade 5 is 1 class, 23 students. When did grade 2 split into 2 classes? Just out of curiosity. Was it at 23? Was it at 24?
All those classes started as 2 kindergartens.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Can I just, one more?
Yes.
So again, the policy may have changed because we're no longer accredited in early childhood, but it used to be 24 students. Kindergarten was a number, that was a magic number in kindergarten. So I may be remiss in quoting that policy because maybe no longer exists. We're no longer accredited.
Yeah.
So
I just
don't
know what I've been told over the years.
Yeah, but I'm just saying there was a magic number in early childhood. And just another point of order, the rising 4th grade, and again, it doesn't seem to impact this conversation, but just for clarity, I believe the rising 4th grade is only currently 1 3rd grade with 18 students. So I think that's maybe only one group unless something's happening there that I'm not aware of, which could very well be.
Say that again, Renee. I looked up. Let me go
So the rising 4th grade, which would be the 4th grade listed here.
You are correct. That is a
okay.
mistake. That is a mistake.
So that's
a
one
big
group of
mistake.
children, that's 18, that 4th grade,
How did I
not
do
2
that?
teachers.
I'm so sorry. That's my mistake. I apologize.
So this is what's going to be 4th grade in 23, 24 is one group of 18? Yes. Okay, thank you.
So
I know, but
4th,
that's a big mistake.
can I ask again, 4th grade's only 18 children?
And there's 1 class.
1 classroom.
Okay.
The only other thing I would comment, Gretchen, on your magic number question, is a lot has to do with the composition of the class. You can have 15 kids that seems like 25.
Of course.
And so that's one of the factors taken into consideration is, can we meet the needs of 18 kids in one room, or do we need to have 2 classes of 9 for the following reasons?
That's helpful. Thank you. Makes perfect sense.
And so just to clarify, if we accept the 15 kids at BES in kindergarten, that'll be 2 classes.
No, there's only 3
Oh, 3.
kindergarten students.
Gotcha.
15.
One section, 15. So it would be, instead of 15, it'd be 18.
Right.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
unless there are move-ins.
Right.
Right. Which last year there was.
And these numbers aren't suggested. Like, we could create, usually administration will come to us and say, we suggest this number of school choice options for this grade and this grade. They've provided us nothing. They've provided us with the information that we asked from them to give us, but we have a complete blank slate on what and if we want to do anything with school choice numbers.
I have one more question in terms of the siblings. So do siblings automatically, if they meet, the definition of a sibling by DESE, they automatically have preference, or do you have to?
They automatically have preference, but they don't necessarily get a slot unless we vote to.
Right,
That is
correct.
right, that
So
is
if there is a space,
Right.
then a sibling would get preference to fill that slot.
So, and we haven't heard from everyone. So let's say there's 5 in kindergarten, and we open 3. Those 5 siblings go into a lottery
Correct.
because they all have preferential, but
Correct.
we don't have enough, so they go into a lottery. I would make a motion to open up 3 seats in kindergarten, 1 seat in grade 3, 1 seat in grade 6 at BES for the school year of 2022-2023.
I'll second that.
23-24.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
That's the way I was thinking.
David Young, yes.
I guess we're starting.
Oh.
I guess we're voting.
Okay. Melissa Gary, yes.
Michelle Geruso, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Nathan Schwartz, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Thank you, Stephen, and Raina Dastu, yes. So that passes unanimously.
Great, thank you so much.
What about grade 7?
That's already been voted.
That was already voted.
Yep, there are 5 seats. Perfect. Great. All right. So other business not anticipated by the chair. We have the school calendar for the 23-24 school year. Accepted? Or
Yes, the union.
yes, the
Thank you,
union-
PVRA. The union has voted to, what's the verb? Accept, recommend, approve, in favor of. The union has
Voted to support the calendar.
There you go.
Great.
So, Gretchen, I know you thanked the union via email. I didn't know if you wanted to thank.
Absolutely love to. Thank you, union members, for the incredible collaboration in this process and speedy collaboration in this process. It was a pleasure as the new chair of the negotiations committee to work with each of you on this, and I appreciate the partnership. And thanks to the subcommittee members.
The option 1A that you have in front of you is almost identical. There are no substantive changes. The PVREA leadership had their monthly labor management meeting with me this afternoon, and we noted a few kind of formatting changes we wanted to make. So, for example, on January 19th, the number 19th is now in bold, and underneath it, where the text is on 119, elementary is bolded, because we want to make clear that families know while the 3 half-days that week are for PVRS, Friday is an elementary half-day also. So we made several collaborative changes in formatting like that, but there have been no changes of days since you last looked at this.
Do you have a date when you're planning on getting this out to families?
I'm going to send a district update out tomorrow.
They would love that.
I know. Yep.
I would move that we approve the draft 2023-24 school calendar.
I second that.
All right. And I just want to note for listeners, families, that this calendar includes no early release days. They have been eliminated so school will be Monday through Friday, same schedule, same times. There are several Friday either half days or full day off to accommodate some of the learning, the professional development and learning needs, as well as the parent-teacher conferences at the elementary level. So just putting that out there. And if this is approved, you'll have the opportunity to look at it yourself online. That's good. All right. Any further discussion? David, take it away.
I think sending kids back to school in August is wrong. I vote no.
Okay.
You know, Melissa Gary, yes.
Michelle Geruso, yes.
I understand you, David, but I'm going to vote yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes. It's one day.
Nathan Schwartz, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Steve?
Pretty sure he votes no.
We have an obligation. We have an obligation to vote yes if we were on the since we're on the negotiating.
One day.
Yeah.
I know it. Make it go away.
Feeling his oats.
Almost as
Yeah, I don't know.
thing, that's
I'm not getting a response from Steve, but Raina Dastu, yes.
Thank
I
you.
don't- Yeah, I don't know, that's it, probably not. Okay.
So I have an item for consideration, and that is the bus contract. Warwick would like to participate in it, and we had the Inspector General look at it, and they said that it would be appropriate for Warwick to become a party to the bus contract that serves Tech School and Pioneer, because the routes are the same. So it's a three-party contract that says that Pioneer approves of Warwick joining, and Pioneer has no financial. So it's Warwick School Committee Chair, and the Kuzmeskis themselves. So we would just, be paying for our bus. That's something we can act on or get done soon?
Alan brought this to our attention, and I've been observing the emails going back and forth, and know there's been legal review.
Yeah, Russell did review it.
Yep, we talked late this afternoon. Jordan contacted Kuzmeskis. Kuzmeskis has no urgency for the committee to consider or approve it tonight. And given that Raina hasn't had an opportunity to look at this, my recommendation was, given that Jordan did reach out to Kuzmeskis, they confirmed they don't need it approved tonight. It felt appropriate to allow Raina, at least, and perhaps the whole committee to look at the document and at the first meeting in June.
So that would be June 8th.
Yes.
And yeah, it's pretty clean in terms of the process, but
Reviewed by the Inspector General of Massachusetts, who gave us instructions to have our town council review it, who gave us instructions to have our school council. And there's a lot to setting up a district, having the uncertainty of not, is this committee really going to say no? Is that a possibility? Because delay is concerning to me.
Wouldn't
But I
this be
haven't
an
seen it
agenda
yet.
item that we would
Yeah.
be discussing? Like, we would have it, I don't know, I would see.
well, this would
I
fall under
think-
the same thing we did the calendar as other business not anticipated. That's why.
Right, well, do we have anything to look at, to be presented?
We
Yeah, the committee has.
I'm just wondering, like,
I
just to
didn't-
read
I
and
was under-
and know what they're approving, yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
All right, I can read the room.
Yeah. We had read it.
Yeah, I think,
I
yeah,
didn't see
the committee hasn't had the opportunity to read what they're, it's like signing without reading the contract. And I don't anticipate that anyone would have an objection, but
Yeah,
I
I wish
myself
I had
haven't
made
had the
copies of it.
opportunity to read it either.
But I also was working with Jordan and Patricia in terms of seeing whether or not there was an urgency there. I agree with David in terms of we're going through a process, but I have no reason to believe that it's just a matter of information and then signing it. So I'm going to be moving forward with. We'll have school committee approval. It's just an opportunity to review it.
Yeah. Right. And Nathan, you had some business from the Curriculum and Personnel Committee that you wanted
Yeah,
to
we've
bring.
gone over most of the stuff that we went through in our meeting. The one thing we haven't talked about is the SRO position. And the committee agreed that the best way moving forward with that is to ask the full committee to form a subcommittee that would advise the full committee and the superintendent on the SRO position.
Advisory committee.
Yeah, could you explain why? What's the rationale? Like, why wouldn't you, as
So
the committee, to take that on?
that was my initial path forward. There was pushback by other members of the committee. If they would like to speak to that, I would be more than happy to give them that opportunity.
Speak to what?
Why is there an advisory committee as opposed to just their subcommittee working on it? Why are we creating an additional advisory committee to study something that would be under the purview of the subcommittee? Is my question.
I think there is the question of best use of resources came up vis-a-vis what is known about the effectiveness of having school resource officers. There hasn't been a lot of study, but there was a meta-analysis done 3 years ago, which suggested that it could be somewhat effective if it were under certain parameters and understandings. And I think we decided we needed to delve into it a bit more deeply before committing.
No, I understand that, but why are you setting up an advisory committee instead of just doing that as your subcommittee work?
Well, we've had quite a bit of work, and we wanted to open it up to people who were not a member of our group.
Yeah, and if I could, part of that was we wanted to make sure that members of all the towns within the district were part of this, the formative process of this at this stage. We reached consensus. I think we reached a consensus of where we need to move, where we'd like to move forward with this. We could bring it to the full committee, you know, as that. But there was discussion about like it might be more productive to bring in more people. It's a relatively large issue, and we want to make sure everyone's on board.
I'm not sure it is. I mean, it's the law. Are we operating under under an exemption?
No. That law was rescinded.
Yes.
There's no obligation to have an SR.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of a police reform package maybe 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we can either go ahead with a subcommittee to advise the full committee and the superintendent, or the CNP subcommittee can give its recommendation.
That's right. I was just wondering about the rationale, since we're all pretty tight on our schedules to create another advisory committee. I was just curious at your thoughts on who would be on this committee. It
would be other school committee members. If that's something the school committee feels like would be beneficial, I think we could move ahead with that. Otherwise, the curriculum personnel committee can give a recommendation, and then the school committee can take it from there. I'm with you. This should move forward quickly, right? This should be in place.
No, I'm not insinuating that it needs to have the time. I was curious on why another committee, why it was being pushed off to just start another committee. That was my only question.
Okay. So I guess my confusion now is that you have the subcommittee, and when you say advisory, that you, because of the implications of this as a resource officer and, you know, serving the student needs in the towns, that you wanted to bring in other people to have conversations with, and so that's not correct.
No.
Okay, so how is the work different? You're delving in deeper and you're going to expand the advisory committee, or I don't understand.
I think one of the things we wanted certainly was representation from all of the towns, just to be sure, because if I'm not mistaken, we're talking about one school resource officer shared among 3 schools. And how effective could that be? And so we really wanted the opinion of more than just some of the towns. We wanted representation from all.
Isn't that what I just said?
Well,
that we would.
There, so I said
Okay. No, I mean, obviously I wasn't clear.
No. What we meant was among school committee members.
Yeah, representation from school committee members.
From each of those towns.
Yes,
each of
we
the 3
don't
towns.
have. We don't have.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you.
You have 3 out of the 4?
Yeah.
No, it's only Warwick also, but Warwick is leaving.
Oh,
right.
we don't.
There's no member.
We don't have a
from
Northfield member.
on that subcommittee.
No Northfield member, right.
So we need someone from.
And since Northfield is presenting this position,
Yeah.
Right.
we thought it in discussion, we thought it was appropriate that
Makes sense.
a Northfield representative should be part of this deliberation.
And as a little bit of history, I think when I first became chair of CNP 5 years ago, we established our first SRO position. That was, it was crazy. We had police chiefs from all 3 towns. We had the sheriff's department there. How are we going to do this? It's for the whole district. I mean, it was brand new, and we've really struggled with what the best fit is for a school resource officer. So I think it is a good idea to have all the towns represented. So if somebody wants to join us for that from Northfield, good.
All right. Well, it would be Steve or myself.
That's a lot
Or-
of
Maybe
pressure.
one of us
Or
could join.
draft somebody
Could-
new from
could-
Northfield.
If you're not interested,
help with this.
we'll move forward and make a recommendation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like the work to continue primarily through the curriculum and
Yeah,
personnel. So and
We're not
then
going to
we can.
just shelve it.
Yeah, good. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I would like that work to continue, and then I can, we can talk. I'll talk with Steve, but whether one of us can join you just for that task.
So that sounds good, as long as that's a possibility. We'll table this for now. If a committee member from Northfield would like to join the subcommittee, then we won't form a new committee. We'll just bring another person in to be part of that discussion.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yep, just to lend that perspective. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Updates. Graduation will happen before we meet next.
Yeah, June 7th? 2nd. Why did 7th is the following year. I've been looking, see, look at this. Just saying.
Great.
June
Not set in
2nd.
stone.
And have you received the email yet advising you of the dates of all the graduations? And so happy for a minute we thought there would be a conflict with the BES graduation and Leiden Town meeting, but that is not a conflict.
Oh, they did? What
Yes, they did.
It's now Wednesday.
Wednesday, the 21st.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So June 2nd for Pioneer, June 21st for BES, and June 22nd for NES. So,
And if folks would let Joanne know if any graduations you would be attending, that would be terrific, and we can pass that information along to the schools. Thank you.
You know what? We didn't get the time.
6 p.m. for the elementaries.
Yeah.
It's in an email.
It was in the
Yes,
email.
it is.
Read it again.
And I think the same for, to confirm. Great. And induction of National Honor Society
That took
members
place tonight. Yes,
Yeah.
in the wonderful.
Congratulations to all of those
Yes, yeah.
fantastic students and their wonderful teachers who inspired them. Great. And our next meeting is Thursday, June 8th at 7 p.m. here. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
How do you really feel?
Any discussion on that? Or you want to start the voting?
David Young, yes.
Leslie Gary, yes.
Michelle Druso, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Raina Dasty, yes. And Steve, are you still there?
Steve Martin, yes.
Thank you.
I think Alan.